So we're going to talk about division with no remainders. So that's a good thing. Okay. So when you divide, right, obviously you can get a remainder or not. Okay. If you divide evenly, as we like to say, then you get no remainder, which is kind of a nice way to divide, right? And we'll talk about tomorrow, we'll talk about division with remainders. Okay. Now, I say remainders, but in your world from now on, there is no more remainders. Okay. We're either going to turn them into decimals, which probably like 99.9% of the time we're going to do that. Okay. Very, 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 very rarely will you have a mixed number when we divide. Okay. We like decimals. Okay. As the other day we showed you, right? You got to know your decimal places, right? So we'll ask you to divide to a certain decimal point, a decimal place. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's talk about some language here. Get this out of my way. Okay. So in elementary school, let's start with you saw something that looked like this. Maybe. Oh, do I got to turn that on? Nope, I had that on. All right, you saw something like this in elementary school, yes? Okay, your division problems will no longer look like that. Okay, I don't know what you guys call that, like the division bracket thing. Is that correct? Something like that? I don't know. Division bar bracket, right? Okay, you left those, excuse me, you left those in elementary school. Those stayed there. Your problems now will look like either A divided by B, and I'll explain these variables in a minute. Okay, or they will look like fraction form. A divided by B. So you have to know the parts of division. You have to know which one the divisor is and which one the dividend is. This is the way it is. Listen, I'll be quite honest with you. This is the way it is here until you graduate. That division bracket bar thingy's gone. Okay, so now you got to know where to put the numbers in or out of the bracket. Does that make sense? Okay. Does anybody know? Okay, you got a 50-50 chance here. A or B? My first question is, which one is the, we'll start with divisor. A or B is a divisor. If you know, raise your hand. If you're 100% confident that you know which one the divisor is. Only 3, 4 of you? Oh boy. Michael says A is a divisor. Anybody agree with Michael? How many of you think it's B? Do we have any honest people in here and you don't know? It's okay. There you go. All right. That's good. That's okay. That's why you're here. B is your divisor. This is where you might want to take notes and write this stuff down. Okay, just right. If you have a spiral notebook, just keep writing it in there because that's where you're going to put your homework tonight. B is a divisor. Will B always be the divisor? Yes, it's never going to move. Okay, second question. Does the divisor go inside or outside the bracket? So in this problem, is B 20 or is B 285? Kahan knows. Which one? Did you say B is 20? You are correct, sir. Your divisor is always on the outside. That is the number that you are going to be dividing by. Okay, obviously then that leaves 285 as A. Okay, so when you see this problem, and I will go back to the screen if we need to, when you see this problem, it's going to look like this. That's what it's going to look like from now on. Right? Or they can present it to you in this way. It's going to be one of those ways. You have to know that when I do this, come on, here you go, that my numbers go here. Okay, that I know that's a slight change from elementary school, but that's the first thing that I need you to understand. That's how division is going to work. Everybody good? Okay, now I'm glad you're doing that. This is where you know yourself right now going, all right, I'm not well versed in that, or this is new to me, whatever. So guess what you have to look at and study tonight? That. You got to know which one the divisor is, which one the dividend is. You got to know where they go. Does it make sense? Okay. Right. So we know the divisor. I guess I didn't write this before, but I'll write this now. Let me change colors. Okay. So then the number underneath is the dividend. Sorry, I'm trying to write the best I can here on my. Say that again, buddy. Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. However, yes. However you can remember it would be fantastic. Yeah, that's a good one, Ryan. That's really good. Okay. Everybody okay with those? Now, I'm going to assume, which I shouldn't, but I'm going to assume you know what the quotient is. The answer to a division problem, right? And that would go right up there. Right? I think you all know that. The harder two are divisor and dividend. Okay. All right. So far, so good? Everybody good? All right. So let's divide. We'll do this problem. Okay. So when we divide, here's what I recommend. What comes after the 5? Mason? A decimal point. That is correct, sir. Here's what I recommend. You bring that right up into the quotient, and I would add a couple zeros because you may need them. That's the first thing I would do. All right. Second thing. Everybody good so far? You got to ask yourself, you got to take one number at a time. Okay. You got to take the whole divisor, 20. Does 20 go into 2? No, it does not. So if it doesn't go into 2, you got to collect the next number. Right? So now it's 28. Does 20 go into 28? Yes, it does. Okay. So if you say that, then you got to ask yourself, how many times does 20 go into 28? Okay, the number goes over top of the last number that you collected. So a 1 goes there, right? So now we multiply. 1 times 0 is 0, right? I'm taking 1 times 0, and that goes under 8. 1 times 2 is 2. What do we do to those two numbers? Subtract, right? Division, if you haven't figured this out yet, division is just a combination of multiplication and subtraction. So when somebody says, well, I don't understand division, I generally say, I think you do, because I'm going to ask you, do you know your facts? And you're going to say yes. Do you know how to subtract? Yes, that's all division is. It goes back and forth. You multiply, you subtract. You multiply, you subtract. You multiply, you subtract. That's all division is. Okay, then we got to subtract. So here we get 8, right? Now what do? Mason. All right, we bring down. Come on. There we go. We bring down the 5 to make 85. Okay. Now we're going to ask ourselves, how many times does 20, our divisor, go into 85 without going over? Chase. That would be 4. That goes above the 5. So here we go again. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. We subtract. We get 5. Are we done? We're not done yet because we still have a 5 down here. Remember, we are today, all of them are going to come out even, right? We have no remainders. So you have to keep dividing until your remainder is 0 at the bottom. That is correct. Michael. All right, very good, sir. Next thing, after you subtract, you got to bring down the next 0. This is why you add zeros. Okay? How many times does 20 go into 50? Emma. Twice. Oh, get away. Twice. Okay, so we get 40. Subtract, we get 10. Oops. Everybody good? Okay, we bring down the 0. So now we have 100. How many 20s go into 100, Mason? That would be 5. Okay, I got to move my screen up here. We get 100. And now you're left with 0. So your quotient here is 14 and 2500ths. How do you check to see if you are correct in a division problem? See, from this point right here, you could break out your Desmos calculator on your laptop and check to see if you're right. What would you do, Ryan? Do you know? 14 and 25. Gotta know your place value. Yes, 2500. Very good. Yes, very good. Okay, to check it. Okay, you take 14 and 2500ths times 20. What's that going to give you? That better give you 285. It'll give you your dividend. You take the quotient times the divisor. Any questions? Yeah, there you go. Any questions? Does that refresh? Right? Is everybody good? Question number 1. We need to do another one, don't we? Yes. One more. One more? One more? Okay, one more. Yeah, we need to do one more. All right, here we go. So I'm going to write it this way first. can write it that way first. First question is, which one is the dividend? Kellen? I can't hear you, buddy. 6,534. Does the dividend go on the inside or outside? Goes on the inside, right? Okay, so very good. So why is this not writing? There we go. Okay, I always get in the habit of putting the decimal point at the end and a couple zeros. Okay, just get in the habit of that because I might need my zeros. Okay, does 99 go into 6? Does 99 go into 65? Uh-oh, I got to collect 3 numbers now. So, does 99 go into 653? Yes. How many times? 6. Okay, now the easy way to do this is mentally just try to, change 99 to 100, right? Okay, how many hundreds go into 653? 6. Right? That makes sense? Okay, that's 6. Goes over top of the last number that we collected. Okay, now we got to multiply. 6 times 9. Emma? 6 times 54. So we put the 4 there and the 5. And the 5 goes, why does it keep doing that? The 5 goes over the 9. So now we got to take 9 times 6 again. That's 54. Now we got to add 5 to get 59. Uh-oh. What'd you practice last night? Subtracting. Can you take 4 away from 3? What? Yes. No. So we got to borrow in the division problem. So remember how to do that from last night? You borrow 1 from the 5 to make it a 4. Now that becomes 13. Now can you take 4 away from 13? No? Yeah, what do you get? 13 minus 4. 9. Can I take 1 away from 4? That's a 4 there. There we go. Can I take 9 away from 4? No. So I got to go over to the 6 and I got to borrow 10 from there. So now I got 14. 9 away from 14 is 5. Did we do this right? Yes. 5 minus 5 is 0. I don't really need to put anything there, right? Okay, now what do we got to do? Emma? Bring down the 4, the next number in the number. Oh, look how nice that is. Okay, well, the first go around, we knew 6 times 99 was not 594. Look what number we're left with. 594. So we know that 6 is going to fit in there. That's exactly the number, right? And now we're left with 0. So we didn't need to bring down the zeros, but you don't know that when you start. Any questions about dividing with no remainders? Everybody good? Any questions at all, right? You multiply, you subtract, you bring down. You multiply, you subtract, and you bring down.